kids were selling this stuff. A 9-year-old girl sold me some.
The users of crack aren't its only victims. Children are the most tragic victims. In Miami Beach, this baby is taken from her pregnant mother, who police say sold crack to undercover officers. An alleged crack dealer led away in handcuffs crosses the path of children on their way home from school. And while police count the proceeds from the suspected dealer's sales, his son watches in confusion. Neighbors with children watch from across the street.
They see this every day. SWAT, dogs, guns, violence, the people out here selling crack. They try to sell it to my son.
Crack is bought and sold on street corners in broad daylight. Children are hired as lookouts, threatened if they refuse, educated about crack at an early age. What's your name?
Timmy.
What do they sell out here?
Rocks.
Timmy here, okay, if you saw that, this is a 1988 video, but this problem, the crack epidemic, started in the early 80s up onto really, let's say, early 90s, 91, 92, okay? This dude you are seeing right here, if he stayed alive and if he's not locked up, this dude is now 40 years old, okay? I'll play it back a little bit so you see it.
At an early age. What's your name?
Timmy.
What do they sell out here? At an early age. What's your name?
Timmy.
What do they sell out here?
Rocks.
Rocks? Can you imagine bringing up children in a neighborhood where barbed...
So the kids that were exposed to this, they are 40 years old right now. Actually, this was I think this was done in 1988. So these kids, actually people that are between the ages of 40 and 50 were children doing, or young, like adolescents during the crack epidemic. Okay, so 40 to 50 years. Picture that, right? That's the Tariq Nasheed group. Okay, the Didis, R. Kelly's, Tariq Nasheed. That's the generation. Those are the generation of the blacks that grew up like this. What we're dealing with on the internet, like Anon and all these other guys, would fall like Unsee, right? These people will fall between the ages of 20, Austin Holloman, to 30. Because a lot of these guys also had kids very early because they were out there on the streets. So we're dealing with what we have working with right now. If you take out the Gen Zs, the guys that are under 18 years old, anybody 18 and up to the age 55 is either born as a crack user or the child of a crack user. And the chemistry of their brains was affected. So this is why these people are looking for answers right now. This was also the era of the welfare state, which started a little bit preceding that. So they have their 60s problems. They got a slightly good run in the 70s. The 80s is when their laziness just showed up. And it's created these babies that are giving immigrants hell right now because they failed at shit. And they're seeing a wave of immigrants come to America and do well. All these guys you see in live streams, if they would tell us their truth, regardless of their feminine nature, they are crack users or they are the children of crack users. They can never deny it because this is the data. That every literature of Black America supports exactly what I'm saying. All the men that are giving human beings wahala in America right now, that are running away from women and don't want to get married, that are leaving children out of wedlock, don't want to raise their children, that are masquerading all over the globe, causing problems. They are all products of the crack epidemic. And because they are confused and didn't have any structure, their children under 18 are your YNs. This is why I say they have no chance at progress. All these guys have to die off, or they have to be locked up in prison. So it's maybe after the YN's children that you can start to see some improvement. These are not special people, folks. I gave you the data. Don't pay attention to the shit to talk about, oh, your country this, your country this. What we've built in Africa, these guys are not capable. When is the, I see this all the time. When is the last time you saw a black plumber nowadays? They can't even change a sprinkler head, bro. These people can't use their hands. These are unemployable men, men that have no skill, can't work. They just dance. If they want to talk about some things, we could show them some things. We could show them some things, man. These are facts. These are facts, bro. They're teaching these kids. Look at them, bro. Destitute. They weren't doing much, man. I have some of the videos you see white folks working hard and building shit. Then you see all the Nigers, they used to call them Negroes at the time. You see the Negroes just dancing it up, bro. Dusting it up and dancing it up.
One farmer looked at this and said,
this is how the blacks used to migrate from the South to go work 3-month jobs in North Carolina and in the northern states during the farm season. This is how they used to pack them up. This is called Class D transportation because it's not first class. It's like the bottom class. That's how they used to send them up there, including their children were working for 2 cents an hour. So that 2 cents then, see, they don't teach them this history. They don't know really about themselves and just what the transformation to what today America is. This is factual, bro. This is a CBS documentary, man. The good thing about America is they documented all these things. So there's a lot of archives for me to dig up shit. But this is how these guys migrated to the north. They were migrants in America. They actually call them migrants. You will hear in this documentary. If you have some time, there are 2 documentaries I want you to watch. Mississippi 1961 and then Harvest of Shame. And you understand how these people even showed up in the northern states. They would come here, work, their children were uneducated, and that everything you see today, they've been dusting it up from the 60s. This is not new. It's not normal for you to see human beings behave this abnormal in such a big mass. It's not a coincidence. It's become cultural because it started a long time ago. This is where it actually started.
we used to own our slaves. Now we just rent them.
You heard it? We used to own our slaves. Now we just rent them. So they were renting them as slaves in the 1960s to work these stupid ass, they call them migrant jobs.
The Secretary of Labor looked at the migrant plight and said,
I think they're the great mass of what I call.
See, so it took some white men to help them out, to bring it to the president and say, we got to do some things for them. Massa has always been by their side, bro. The hate that they're giving you right now, they're doing it thinking they are at parity with Massa. They are forgetting that they are still have to go through Massa. Massa has always been by their side. These people they would have been nothing. These are animals. They are Massa's favorite pets. This is why they feel like they have to fend you guys off, because they think the immigrants have gotten so close to Massa. The Secretary of Labor had to go to the president and say, man, they used to call them Negroes. These Negroes are struggling right now, man. Let's give them something.
The exclusions who are
follow the sun. There was still some work.
Look at them. Look at them. Look at your people.
In the bean fields. Children, as usual, were left to fend for themselves.
Jerome, how old are you?
9.
Nowadays, they sit on TikTok talking about Africa doesn't have hot water. You don't have hot water. You want to have water. You know what I'm saying? Hot water. Look at them carrying water with a bucket.
9, do you go to school?
Yes.
Where do you go to school, Jerome?
At the Overcrowded Elementary School.
I see. What is your sister's name?
Lois.
That's Lois. And what are your other sisters' names?
Catherine. And Beulah.
Catherine and Beulah. What happened to your foot, Jerome?
Dig a nail in out there by the wash house.
So you drove a nail in out by the wash house. What did your mother do for that?
She put some alcohol on it
Where do you sleep, Jerome?
in his bed.
You have this big bed?
Yes.
What happened?
Brothers, look at this. This is them in America when they started moving north. This is them in America when they started moving north. You know, this stuff was not passed down. It's not like us where our folks pass this shit down and tell us where we come from, so we stay humble throughout our living. The new breed, they just seen the new magnificent USA without knowing where it all started. And this was not too far. My mom was alive then. My mom was alive in Ghana when these fuckers were living like this, bro. This is 1960.
How did you get that
My mom was 7 years old. So some of these guys are still alive, by the way. Some of them are still alive.
hole in that bed there, Jerome?
Rats.
The what?
Rats.
Now, Jerome,
You see, the bed's all eaten up by rats, bro. You see these ninjas?
you are taking care of Kathy, of Beulah, and Lois.
Yes.
Now, are you going to give them lunch today?
Yes.
What are you going to feed them?
I don't know.
Do you have any food here to give them?
Yes.
Ew.
What time
You
does
didn't see
your
the
mother
food?
come home?
All these guys used to
You're
eat
gonna
was
feed them.
beans, bro. I'm
I
telling you,
don't know.
man.
Do you have any food here to give them?
Yes.
Look at the food. Isn't that these same guys that mock our food? VDT, look at their food, bro. This is beans. These motherfuckers didn't even know how to cook beans, bro. Look at the pot. Look at their food, bro. They were nothing. Talking about we built America. This is them, bro. I thank God that America at least keeps record of these things, man. Sometimes in books, sometimes in video and clips. You know, all these media outlets have these archives that you can go on their website and takes you to the archives. You can look at them. It's not all on YouTube. Some are really on websites now that you can access them. This is them, folks. This is them. This is the food. I don't know any African food that looks like this shit. Doesn't have any red oil. At least Ghana will put, when we do beans, we'll put some palm oil on it. We'll dress it up nicely. You can see some onions in it. I feel like throwing up looking at this shit, bro. It's got nothing. Salt and beans. That's what they were eating, folks, in 1960. My mom was alive. And all of them are connected to this because any black person that doesn't live in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia that says, I'm from DC, I'm from New York, they were part of this group. It's called the Great Migration. This is how they started. Okay, so they were not no natives because natives don't eat this shit. Okay, this is some nasty shit, bro. That's how they moved up north. You know, you have to be humble in life, bro. That's one of the things I've learned. You got to be very, very humble. Embrace your history and be humble. You're not any better than the Africans, bro. Massa just gave you a hookup. That's it.
I see. What time does your mother come home?
I don't know.
The following day, Arlene King, the mother of Jerome, Kathy, Lois, and Beulah, again was picking beans.
Aileen King, I saw your children yesterday at the Okeechobee camp. Why didn't you put them in the nursery?
I don't make enough to pay for it.
How much does it cost to put them in?
85 cents.
85 cents.
That's right.
Aileen, what time did you come out the field this morning?
6 o'clock.
What time will you get home?
About 3:30, 4 o'clock.
6 this morning to 4 o'clock this afternoon.
That's right.
And if you notice one trend, even from the 60s, only the women work. The men are lazy. Till this very day, this is still true. They leave the kids, they don't raise the kids. You know, different men will have kids with these women, they don't raise the kids. These women will go there, pick, they used to get 18 cents. She will leave the kids. The other kid is taking care of the other kids. That's risky because she can't afford the camp. And then she has to go work these long hours and leave the kids with those beans. And this is the story for most of them. It wasn't like a one family thing. I've seen some of them had 9 kids. Again, guys, I've been studying this thing because I need it for my live streams. Some of them will have 9 kids deep. And they'll leave them and go to these fields and do these jobs. Okay? And get little pay, then they'll come back, and the kids will not even be in school. So this problem started a long time ago, way before any immigrants showed up.
How much did you earn?
$1.
$1?
That's right. $1.
Is that because the beans were of poor quality?
That's right.
Has this happened before?
That's right.
How much will your food cost you today?
About $2.
Aileen, how old are you?
29.
How many children do you have?
She's 29 already in 1960 with 3 kids. This thing didn't just start. You know, sometimes if you look at the statistic, they make like, it's a new problem. No, it's not a new problem, bro. This is who they are. It's never going to change. It's actually getting worse. This is what it's always been, folks. It's not because some immigrants showed up. No, no, no. This is it, man.
14.
How old were you when you first started working in the fields?
8.
She started working at 8. So only the women have been working. These boys are just on the internet. Oh, the Black Alpha Network has 3,500 in a live stream. Yeah, because they're not working, bro. You can fire them up. You can fire up a live stream at 6 o'clock in the morning. These ninjas will be in a live stream. They don't do it at night like we do it. And they don't learn anything from their live stream. There's no education. There's nothing they talk about in their comment sections.
21 years in the field?
That's right.
Aileen, do you ever think you'll be able to get out of this kind of work?
No, sir.
All the migrants travel 4th class. If there is
What did I tell you? They all travel 4th class.
a privileged class, they ride in their own jalopy, in the best Jode family tradition.
Look how excited they are, right? Look at how excited they are.
The long journey begins. Through Atlanta, Nashville.
So if you see, they were not skilled labor, so they couldn't have built the infrastructure of America. The roads that they were traveling on was built by white people. This is pure evidence. Their job skills was restrained to low-skill agricultural work. They were food pickers. They would just pick things during the harvest. This is why their jobs were seasonal, and they had to be moved to the north, where these farms were, for them to be able to earn a living. And these jobs would last anywhere from 3 to 4 months. After that cycle, they'll return back to the south and they'll chill out and dance in the night to that, that music, dance it out, hold on to that money to the next season. They were seasonal migrant workers. And they'll come with their children. That's why their children will start working at age 8. So a majority of them were also child laborers, which left a big gap in their structure when it comes to education. Compare this period to sub-Saharan Africa. We were gaining independence. Where Ghana was already 3 years independent. Some countries were starting to gain independence, but we had access to education at that time. And when we became fully independent, there was no restriction to what college you could go to. You could go to Adisadel College, you could go to Infante Pim, you could go to Achimota School, or the big Prempeh College, or the big schools had no white-black restriction. In the colonial and in the Caribbean, people could just go to school. But these people, even though they could go to school, Their poverty levels just didn't allow them. So and they didn't have childcare. So when they go to these migrant jobs, they took their kids to it, and their kids also earned some money. And the ones that were old enough would take care of the little kids so that their moms can work. They were largely unskilled labor.
Indianapolis, en route to the fields and orchards of America. Lowell has been following the migrants for the past 9 months. Some are freewheelers who travel as a family unit.
You want to be a doctor?
Yes.
What kind of a doctor, do you know?
I think I'd rather be a dentist.
A
Pull
dentist?
teeth.
Mrs. Christine Shack, their teacher, was asked about her pupils.
Mrs. Shank, do your pupils, who are, most of them, children of migrant families, are they anxious to get an education?
You see what the white folks were calling them? They were calling them migrants, even though they were moving from one side of the U.S. to another side of the U.S. These guys had no respectable labels for the blacks, bro.
Terribly anxious, even more so than the child in the normal school year.
Do they get any help from their parents as far as schoolwork is concerned?
Usually you will find that the parents themselves are not educated. When we go out to enroll the children, oftentimes the parent will make an act.
Yeah, they were terrorists. Yeah, all of them. See, the things they're angry about, they were doing.
And the person interviewing will have to sign it in order to get permission for the child to be enrolled in school.
Mrs. Shank, how does this problem affect you personally?
I think maybe I feel a bit of responsibility toward these children because I realize that we here in New Jersey reap the benefits of their parents' labor.
This is survival and escape in Huff. Music, movement, and this moment. But in the morning, no job that will pay a living wage.
So yeah, this is a different one. You see, there are no jobs to pay a livable wage in the morning. So all they did was they danced. This is where the talent comes from. Clowns. They were entertaining themselves. So they built a culture of entertainment from being idle. This is why anytime you talk to them, they talk about their celebrities and entertainment. It came from idle hands. It wasn't a unique talent or a unique skill. It just came from the fact that a lot of them were destitute and couldn't do much for America. So they danced. You see it here. They're dancing. They're busting out all the moves. The amount of calories that man burnt can build a bridge, or build a house. But no jobs. Look at them. Even their children were dancing.
They ain't gonna give but a handful of crumbs to a mother. What do you think the young teenager gonna do? Why do you think that's down here on Huff? Because when it gets dark, they have to go out here and survive.